that offensively you guys might be all right those last couple of games. Did you realize down the stretch that if you had to play him that might change you offensively? Or
yeah, he's played. Rudolph has played pretty well, and I said this after the Oklahoma game. He's made some mistakes that freshmen make, but the thing that he's given our team is some toughness. For whatever reason, sometimes players kind of light a spark with your team, and he's given us that. But I'm not sure. In fact, I know there's not ever a time that we thought that it would change. We've protected better in the last two games than we did through that difficult middle of the season stretch. And Des Rowland has run the football a little better, and that's contributed to some success. We still have a long ways to go, and as I mentioned, I think one of the key areas in this game was whether we can protect and give him a chance versus a team that's been really good at rushing the quarterback.
How strange is it that we're playing a bowl game before we play the home game?
It's been unusual. This season, of course, we played on the road, or neutral site to open, and then we were home for a month. And then really, when you get into the meat of the season, which is October, November, we had two home games for the most part. So it's kind of been an unusual season. But for him, he's really worked hard, and he seems to be very focused. And it's encouraging that he's showed some toughness and some grit in playing on the road at really two tough places, two teams that traditionally have been difficult to beat at home.
After the Bedlam game, he said, he didn't know what it meant. He wasn't from this area code. Have people told him what that's meant?
Well, I think you guys have, and I'm sure the fans have. And I joked with my wife that I'm sure that he's been a pretty hot, big hit on campus, and he's really handled himself well. And sometimes that can be an advantage. One of you guys asked me before the Oklahoma game and the week prior that would it be to his advantage that he didn't grow up in this state and maybe he doesn't actually know what all is involved, and very well could be. Sometimes young players just go out there and play, and he certainly didn't have anything to lose. As I said, he made some mistakes, but for the most part, he competed and showed some toughness, and that's really what we needed. And I said this when we had the press conference at the stadium before we came out here that Dax gave us a lot this year, and I'm not trying to justify anything, but he went through a tough stretch, and we appreciate what he brought to the table, and he took a lot of hits and continued to fight. And one thing we'll never know is how could have Rudolph held up if he would have gone through the same, for lack of a term, beating that Dax went through. We'll never know. The question comes up a lot, but in moving forward, we're excited about where we're at. We're still playing a young offensive line, but they've practiced well. Receivers are getting adjusted to Mason somewhat, and we need Dez and Rennie to make some plays for us running the football.
Mike, Chris Peterson had first of all, he said he didn't have as much fun as he wanted to last night. He said you never can talk to the people you want to talk to at one of those events. But he had an interesting observation. He said, I wouldn't mind if our staffs or Coach Gundy and I got together later on after the bowl game, because we've looked at their whole season, they've looked at ours, and I'd sure like to know what they think, and I hope maybe they'd like to know some of the things we thought from looking at a whole season as another coaching staff.
I don't want to put myself in a category with certain coaches, but there's a number of similarities between Coach, myself, his staff, our staff, and kind of the way that we've progressed through this year, and really over his last 5 or 6 years of his career and kind of my career. I don't ever look at bowl records, but he's 5-3 and I'm 5-3. He's won a Fiesta Bowl, and I won a Fiesta Bowl. Their offense, their defense, their special teams, when you look at them and you look at us, there's a lot of similarities in, okay, we have to try to find a way to manufacture some yards, manufacture some points. And I've watched him for a number of years because he's on at like 11 o'clock at night till 1 in the morning back home, and so I've had a chance to watch him. And then they played all those Wednesday and Thursday night games in he's at the WAC, and when he was in that conference, they would always be on late at night, or they would be on a Thursday. And so I'm sure he's he's enjoyed seeing some of the things that we've done, and I've seen some of the things that he does, which is can be an issue for a team. It takes a lot of work to prepare for this team, and hopefully we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's, because they do a lot of things from a scheme standpoint that give them a chance to win.
What was Texas? Was that the low point? Is that the point at which you said? Because I remember after the game you said, "I think we're getting better," and I think all of us were like, I mean, was that kind of the point at which you thought? I don't know. I mean, did you ever have any doubt you would turn it around? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yes.